Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. On today's episode, let's take a look at the basics of using Apple Music. So if you haven't tried Apple Music yet, it's a free trial for 3 months. And if you launch the new iTunes, notice here I'm using iTunes version 12.2.1.16. So anything that or newer is going to have Apple Music as part of it, but it doesn't say Apple Music in big letters or anything up here. Instead, you see several categories at the top. One's called For You and another's called New. These will both go to Apple Music, and if you try to click on one and you haven't signed up yet, you'll get a screen like this. And you can go to start your free trial. You've got two options for a free trial. You've got the individual free trial, which is standard and very similar to services like Spotify. And you also have this family trial where you can actually have people, they have to be real family members, and they will link kind of to your account, but they will have their own separate Apple Music stuff. The stuff that they pick and playlists they make will be all separate. But the idea is it's a discounted price. So $15 gets your family all Apple Music plans. So you choose which one of these you want to do, and then you're going to sign in and continue with the sign up. That'll get you the free trial. So once you're all squared away and have the free trial going, you'll go to iTunes and you'll see under My Music you've got your music still, but if you go to For You or New, you'll see now content there, and this is all content in Apple Music. And basically this is just some suggested things, suggested playlists, albums based on what you already have or just based on what Apple wants to feature. If you really want to dig down into Apple Music and just find anything by anybody, search is what you want to do. So let's search for something. Let's search for, say, the Kinks. And you can see I've got two tabs here under search. One is My Library. That's going to show me stuff I have in my library. Both things that I've had previously, like I've bought at iTunes or ripped from CDs or bought from other services and imported into iTunes. It's also going to show me things that I've added from Apple Music. I'll talk about adding from Apple Music in a minute here. But if I switch to Apple Music from My Library, now it's going to give me a search of the entire Apple Music library. And I could select something like, for instance, let's click on the Kinks here, and I can see here there's top results, there's songs, there's albums, there's playlists, music videos, artists. Let's click on artists here, and I'll go to the artist page for the Kinks. This gives me information like the latest release, top songs, top albums. I've got biography over here with some other information on the right side. And I could dig down into any album I want. So for instance, I can select this album here, dig down into that, and I can see all the songs here. Now at any time I want, I can just play all this music. I could play the album. There were play buttons on the previous screens as well. I can play these individual songs just by clicking on them, and I can just listen to whatever I want. There's no restriction on what I can or can't listen to, and what if I can listen to something again or just jump from one thing to another. It doesn't matter. I can be listening to a Kink song here, and then I could go and do a search again for something else, and just start playing that or add it to my up next list in iTunes. So I can just listen to anything in the Apple Music library. And you can use these forward and backward buttons just like this is a web browser here to go to and from things, and then just continue to search for something else. And you can just jump around. So it's basically like browsing the web, except you're browsing the web of music, and you could play anything that you want and just look into things that you might want to listen to and play whatever you want whenever you want. Now say you find something that you like. So let's go into an album here and say I want to have this whole album kind of available to me all the time without searching. So there's a lot you can do. You can hit this plus button here is the main thing, and that adds to your collection. Now if I go to My Music, I'll see here under recently added I've got the Rush album here added just as if I had purchased it. So there's a difference here between some of these. Some of these albums here I've got because I actually did purchase them or ripped them or got them from another service and brought them into iTunes. And some of these things here I got because I simply added them from Apple Music. If I were to unsubscribe from Apple Music or not continue after the free trial, these would disappear because they were all Apple Music added albums. But the stuff that I had obtained in other ways and actually owned, that stuff would stay. Right now, the way My Music works, it mixes all that stuff together. So now if I search for Rush under My Library, I can see that that album shows up as well as an album that I owned and had ripped from a CD. It just puts it all together and I don't have to worry about where it comes from. I can just play that music. Now, one of the things that's fun to do with a streaming music service is to create your own playlist for various themes or times of the day or whatever you want to use it for. A road trip playlist, a wake up in the morning playlist, a work playlist, that kind of thing. You can do that with Apple Music pretty easily. It's got one weird thing. You have to add the songs to My Music first. So you have to have it in your music library, even if it's from Apple Music, to be able to add it. So for instance, let's search for a song. And I see I didn't have it in my library, but I have it, of course it's in Apple Music here. I'll select it. And I can go now and I can't add, there isn't a way to add that to a playlist, notice. But I can add it to My Music. Once I've added it to My Music, and I notice it takes a second or two, then suddenly I have new options including add to, and I can add it to a playlist to create a new playlist with it. So it's got to be in My Music. You can see it appear here before I can have it in a playlist. I would love for us to be able to create playlists without doing that, but it's not really a huge inconvenience. And of course, chances are if I want it in a playlist, then I don't mind having it also in My Music. So you may think one of the disadvantages of using Apple Music is that you can't listen to music when you're offline. But that's not true. You can actually download some of these songs and have them on your Mac or your iOS device. So for instance, for Summerwind here, I can select this button, download from iCloud, and it will add it now to my computer's files. And it's still tied in. I still need to be subscribed to Apple Music. I won't have it when I let the subscription lapse. But if I'm disconnected from the internet, say I'm on an airplane, I can listen to this song here. And you have the same options on the iPhone and iPad for anything in Apple Music. You can select to have it available offline. And you can do that for a playlist, say. So you can create a playlist to listen to on an airplane, select the ability to have that all downloaded, and then you've got all those songs even if you're not connected. So there are some of the basics. There are just a few other things. There's so much to actually explore in Apple Music. For instance, if you go to For You, you'll notice these are actually playlists. They're called curated playlists, and you can jump to them and see all of the songs here in the playlist. Just jump to an individual song or play the entire thing, or shuffle it just to listen to various different songs. You can see the artist in it, and you can actually also add this playlist to your music here, and you can actually add the songs from the playlist into something, so you can combine these curated playlists into your own playlist. So there's a lot of different cool things that you can do when looking around in For You and New. Also, if you're using Apple Radio, you've got the main station Beat, and then you have, this is with DJs, but then you have these other ones that are basically just mixes of songs, featured stations here, stations with genres, and then when you're listening to something there, you can very easily add that song. If you're a subscriber to Apple Music, you can just add it to your collection, or jump right to the artist inside of Apple Music and find out, all their stuff, all their albums and songs and things like that.